So we start with oil, and I'm using vegetable oil, but back in Kerala they would be using coconut oil. Okay, so I'll let the oil become a little hot, and I'll cut this onion into half first. I love these big onions because you get so much out of it. So a thin layer, peel that away, cut the root, and I'm going to thinly slice it. That's plenty. I will also need 2 cloves of garlic, which I'm going to slice it thinly. So ginger is peeled. I will cut that also into small pieces, which basically means chopped, literally. Once it's been cut into strips, hold it around and then just chop it. So once all this mise en place or this preparation is done, cooking is fairly easy from here on. So we have some curry leaves, eggs, and what we do, I'll cut slits on that. We have boiled the eggs to hard boiled stage. So I'll take 4 for this recipe. And don't cut too deep, just a gash, and that will be enough. Now what we do, we add some spices to this. You add a pinch of salt, take a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of red chili powder, and a little bit of coriander powder. Okay, and mix it together, and that goes straight in the oil. And I've thrown the spices in as well. I'll let them burn and color. And one of the reasons why we put those slits, apart from thinking that we are actually spicing it up, it also that egg should not explode. Sometimes the pressure builds up in the oil and the egg just splits, pretty much exploding. So you want to watch that. That's not required. An idea is to just seal the spices, that feeling of roasted egg, because we are just putting a nice brown kind of glaze on top of the egg, and also the spices getting cooked, and that flavor that coming through, this roasted flavor coming through this. Okay, once this is nicely colored, I'll remove it, and then I'll use the same oil to fry the rest of the things. As a student, I used to travel across Kerala in buses, sometimes sitting on top of the buses, believe it or not. What a dangerous things I've done in my life. But it was fun. It was real fun. Okay, when oil is perfectly spiced up, all I need to do is start with garlic. Saute this garlic. And I can use the ginger as well at the same time. And then add the sliced onions and the curry leaves with the onions, about 8 to 10 curry leaves. And I like to add a pinch of salt while I'm cooking. Not only makes me feel better, but I know that my food is going to be well seasoned. Well, that's all a lie. I just want my onions to cook in good time. Right, so we're just waiting for the onions to get caramelized. Now they are. So now is the time I'll add 1 green chili. And I didn't add it before. I didn't want the curry to become far too hot. I like to slit it and leave the seeds in. And sometimes I try a seed just to make sure that actually it's palatable. You can eat this. Sometimes this chili can shock you. It can be overly hot. But I'm taking my chances because I'm going to make my crew taste it. I'm not going to taste it. So once the chili is started doing its magic, it's releasing its flavor within the onions, I can add the powdered spices, more powdered spices, and that is half a teaspoon of red chili powder, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, and about 2 teaspoons of coriander powder. Coriander powder is added in plenty. Another pinch of salt would go in. I'll cook that through. Now as I can smell the spices getting cooked nicely, then I will just add a drop of water just to cool things down in the pan. And as this water evaporates, my magic onion masala, which is caramelized onion and tomatoes cooked together with turmeric, coriander and red chili. I've often shared this recipe with you all the time, almost in every series I would say. It's a pretty standard recipe, one tablespoon of that. And that just, it does nothing but just brings the onion and everything together. And cook that through, very important. Just gives a little body. And a little bit more water, this time about half a cup. And now is the time to add the eggs back in here. Just let the gravy get into the eggs, let them get mixed nicely. And now we are very religious about our garam masalas in different parts of the country, different parts of the world as well, wherever we make garam masala. But within India, I always say you can always, or you can almost start a civil war talking about garam masala. So I stay out of it, too political talking about garam masala. So I just reach out for garam masala that we make at home, or sometimes I steal from my restaurant as well. Restaurant one is slightly more fragrant. At home it's cinnamon, cardamom, clove, bay leaf, black pepper, chilies and mace. And sometimes I like to add a little bit of rose petals to it, so it makes it slightly more fragrant. And that's the one we have here. Just about a teaspoon of that to finish the cooking. And believe it or not, this is all done. And I will like to serve this on this lovely plate. You can serve 2 per portion. If you're sharing, you can put 3 or 4 on a plate. 4 would be a good number so that we are not fighting. Especially if you're sitting with your siblings and eating, you won't be in a hurry to finish your food so that you can get extra portion. Either 1 per person or 2 per person, depending on how big the meal is and how many dishes you got in your meal. Now that's done, I'll just garnish it. I can't seem to stay away from being a chef. So these are mizuna leaves, just to break that brown color. This makes it look beautiful. Okay. Right folks, simple, straightforward, easy. I didn't use any out there spices, but just the technique, and the technique of frying the eggs in the pan with the spices on. I used only red chili, coriander and turmeric, and a pinch of garam masala and salt. But if you wanted to use a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of black pepper, all that is done. You can do it. Nothing can stop you on that.